All right.
Okay, we're going to get our annual meeting started here. We could take seats. If those who are talking can either take the conversation outside, we're going to get our annual meeting started. Thank you as we begin our 2025 annual council meeting. My name is John Herring, and I am the secretary of the Nickel Board, and we will be conducting this meeting. Myself, Jason, and Jeremy will be conducting this meeting. So first of all, I want to go over the nomination and the election procedures for all board positions. First of all, at least 60 days prior to the annual council meeting, Nickel Stout will send a notification to all Nickel members inviting them to nominate qualified individuals for upcoming board vacancies. The announcement will include a nomination form, position descriptions and qualifications, and an outline of the obligations of being on the Nickel Board. Secondly, the nominator is responsible for directly contacting the nominee to confirm their interests and qualifications for running. Next, the announcement will include a deadline for receiving nominations that is workable with the conference or council meeting plan timeline. And then finally, for the procedures, nominating procedures, candidates interested in running for an open board position will be nominated before the specified deadline. This includes current board members whose terms are ending and they want to run again. Now moving on to the election procedures. Forms of ballots. Staff will list all qualified nominees that are submitted by the public timelines and as reported out of the OE committee. 2, balloting. Staff will conduct electronic balloting for open board positions at least 30 days before the opening of the Nickel Annual Conference and close the process no later than 1 week before the opening of the conference. And then third, invalid ballots. Staff will review completed ballots as they come in, and then they will discard any that are not completed according to the instructions. For example, if a member votes for more than the designated number of positions for member-at-large candidates, or votes for any member-at-large candidate more than one, or votes for more than one candidate for any office of the DEIA committee chair. Next, I'd like to announce the elected executive committee position. There were 2, the announcement of member-at-large position. There are 3 elected positions. An announcement of elected regional representative positions for Region 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. The elected positions, president, we are happy to say that our new president, incoming president, and as soon as I say his name, the president, is Jason. Yeah. Welcome, Mr. President.
Yes. Thank you.
Our treasurer is Whitney Dole.
Yeah.
The 3 new elected member-at-large, Ted Jackson.
Yes.
And I hope I get these names right, so don't crucify me if I don't. Karen Gridley and Esther Durante. Since you'll be on the board, I'll work on getting them right if I didn't. Region 1, Stephen Higgins.
Yeah.
Region 3, Lillian Harrison.
Yes.
Region 5, the best region in the world, Jennifer Kersey. Region 6, Justina Plowden.
Yes.
Region 7, Michael Parker.
Yes.
And Region 9, Lisa Hay.
Yes. Yes.
Let's welcome them all to
Yes.
the Nickel Board. Okay, now we will go into our reports. And our first report is, look, you get elected and within seconds you're doing the job.
Already put to work.
I first reported from our president.
All right. Welcome, folks who hung around. Appreciate your dedication. So, as mentioned, I'm Jason Belaungi. For folks who I haven't met yet, looking forward to meeting you. I am a SIL director in Madison, Wisconsin, of the center called Access to Independence. Really excited to get started as your next president and co-lead this organization with all of you, because it really is all about us. Before I give just a couple thoughts I won't have a really in-depth report since I've been on the clock for about a minute and a half. I want to just first acknowledge Kent Crenshaw for his service again.
Yes, sir.
It is definitely a lot of work, as he told me, and as I've seen and interacted with. There's a lot to manage, a lot to do, and it definitely takes a lot of work. And so I really appreciate his time and commitments and dedication, and really wish he could be here today, but really wanted to thank him nonetheless. Just wanted to share a couple of my priorities for the next couple of years, and things that I also want to hear from you all too as we move ahead. As far as how my priorities go, that just thinking about where Nickel can be strengthened and really work better for all of us. One of those is relevance, thinking about how we can continue to build and strengthen the relevance of the National Council on Independent Living. And I think part of that is continuing to build our presence and our capacities right here in Washington, D.C. A lot of the work, a lot of the reason that Nickel exists is because of federal advocacy. And as we've been hearing a lot in the last couple days, if no one's going to speak up for us, who's going to do it, right? And so we need a presence. We need folks who are connected, who are here, who are aware of what's going on. And so I want to really support the organization to build that presence and capacity to be here, be visible, be present in Washington, D.C. Another area that, if I can get my list to move here, is engagement, membership engagement. It's not a one-way direction for communication, but we have to really keep working on finding ways to improve communication. I think there's a lot of work that goes into it. There's so many things that Nickel is involved in, is working toward, partnerships, strategies, and it's got a small staff, right? There's not a lot of people doing all the work in this organization. And so how do we continue to, again, build capacity, but also strengthen ways that information, communication that's shared with the full board, shared with membership, shared really with our national network, how do we continue to find ways to really make that much more efficient, much more effective, and really see the results of that? I think that you'll get that engagement with those improved lines of communication. And there's always ways that we can do better. It doesn't take away from the work that's been done, but it really just is an emphasis that we have to find ways, because we do hear that from folks who just don't feel like they know what's going on, despite alerts or despite emails or webinars or all the things that go on. There's still ways that we can continue to build upon and improve that. So I think that's really going to be an important piece of that. And how we also create those mechanisms for the membership to share and help build up that expertise is throughout this whole country. It's not just here today. It's not just here in D.C. It's not just folks who are on the board or service staff. Our strength, our knowledge is throughout the whole nation, and we got to tap into that even more than we have, right? We've done a lot of work. We continue to do it, but we've got to continue to tap into that. And so I really want to work and identify that as a priority and focus on that, and really welcome all of you to share thoughts and ideas. And when you see Nickel doing great things and you're really proud to be a member and proud to be at this movement, hearing from you about that. And when you have concerns and a solution or an idea to address that concern, I also welcome to hear those ideas. I know Theo's often said that too. He wants to hear from folks when they feel like things could be better. And so, really want to make sure that communication is open as a result of that. And then finally, for me, I think it's really continuing to ensure that we build our commitment to an independent living network that welcomes folks and includes folks of all identities in our movement. I know that's something that's really been targeted, and a lot of folks are afraid to do that work, and we can't leave those values, we can't leave that work, because quite frankly, we've just begun. We have a long way to go. And there's a lot of different ways that we can continue to do that work without jeopardizing funding, putting folks at risk. And so I want to ensure that that commitment remains there as your next president. So those are just a few of the priorities that I have. And my sort of final piece to my comments today is, and I heard a couple folks mention this as well, that we find ways to work better together. It really stinks when I see senators and councils who don't speak to each other, don't work together. As Mel had said, sometimes it's just from yesterday, sometimes it's from the last year, and sometimes it's been years in the making. And there often is a lot of good reasons that people don't want to work together and don't speak together, or don't speak with each other, and I get that. However, we can't tackle these real threats for our community, the disability community, and our national network if we aren't stronger together. And so really leaning on one another, really looking at how we can improve that way to work together and work through differences and have difficult conversations. I think, I talk about being from Wisconsin and the whole idea of Midwest nice, and sometimes that gets confused for I don't want to have a difficult conversation, but it's important because we can't get through the garbage and start working on the real stuff if we don't have those difficult conversations. So we have to fight together because, quite frankly, we cannot cease to exist. We can't go back to the way things used to be before the work that's been done and the work that has yet to be done. We really continue to demand our rights to live freely as we choose, where we choose, and with whomever we choose. And that's why the IL movement is so important and why I really look forward to leading in with all of you, my brothers and sisters in this movement. And I really appreciate the trust you put in me as your next president.
Thank you, Jason. Our next report will come from our executive director, Mr. Theo.
Yes, sir. My turn back up? Can anybody hear me? Okay, awesome. Well, let me say this about your incoming president, Jason. Ever since I got here about 2 years ago, I've been working with him in various capacities. I know his commitment. He is a man that does the work. And so I'm confident that he's going to carry that as your next president of Nickel. So thank you. A couple things, I'm not going to talk very long, but I definitely want to tell you that Nickel has expanded its national presence and strategic influence. If you follow me in any kind of capacity on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, I try to make it a point to highlight my visit to different legislative or White House events and those kind of things to create that presence. And I carry with me Nickel, and I let folks know what Nickel is all about. And so I'm telling you with full confidence that Nickel influence and Nickel having a voice in major initiatives and major key decision makers, we are there. Not only am I there, Jessica, the policy director and advocacy director, she has a presence there. We are keeping her in DC. So we are doing things, although it might not make it back to you, right? And like Jason said, we're gonna engage with you all more and communicate with you all more about the things. But don't think for a minute that we are not working on your behalf, right? And another thing, we're going to rely on you as we move ahead to communicate to others that you need to be a part of Nickel and what we're doing here. The threat is real. It's not made up. They are doing things to turn the clock back. And if we're not engaged, if we're not collectively engaged in working to force those threats back, then we will succumb to them. People with disabilities historically has not been valued. Historically. They do not care about us. And now we have an administration that don't care about us. But I guarantee you, the Nickel Board of Directors and its members are working on behalf to change that and fight that. And there's a couple things that I just really want to highlight that and make you aware of. One is, you already know that the President's executive order in regard to DEAI and making that illegal, right? You already know that. He put that out there, and he's trying to make DEI illegal. But we historically have not done anything illegal in regard to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. But that is not going to stop him. That is not going to stop the administration from trying to make what we do, the IL network of Centers for Independent Living, the State Independent Living Council, and all the things that we do, they're not going to stop them from trying to hinder and cause delays. And that, if that occurs, they will harm us. So we're trying to gear up, and you're going to be hearing more about this, a fight back fund that we're going to be asking people, that we're going to be asking our network to contribute to, that we're going to be asking our allies, the people that we work with in regard to managed care organizations and other allies to contribute to. Because we're going to have to fight back if harm is caused by this administration, by the Secretary of Human Services, in regard to requiring us not to do certain things. If harm occurs, it'll be too late to try to do something. So we need to create a fund to be able to engage legally to fight back when it's called for. And so we're going to require you all to do that. Nickel's going to do his part to generate monies to put into this defense fund, but we need your help. We need your help. So just listen for those announcements as they come out. Jason is going to establish a task force. And I already spoke to Keely Cat Wells. She want to be a part of that task force. She's going to lose her influence, right, with these corporations, right? And so we're at a good start. We're at a good place, but it cannot be done without the network of Centers for Independent Living. The bigger ones who can give more, the smaller ones who can give a little, but everybody needs to give because we're going to fight on your behalf. Right now, I was pleased to say that Nickel is operating on a $1.7 million budget. That is increasing. Our membership is increasing. People are coming back. I give that a clap. All right? Give that a clap, right? Because you saw yesterday how many folks was out there, right? That wasn't all Nickel. That was other allies as well. We're developing ally relationships with other people, disability-led organizations, and other organizations maybe not even have anything to do with disability, but everything has to do with disability. But they have shared mission, right? They are being affected as well. A lot of people are affected by these devastating Medicaid cuts, all right? And collectively, we can fight back. But we got to stop working in silos, right? We got to come together and create a unified voice. And if you saw that yesterday, you saw we was moving in the right direction. We're going to continue to move in the right direction. Bottom line, Nickel is in a great situation right now. But we can do better. Right now, there's a lot of things coming at us that require the network to pay attention. So when we put out call to action, what is the purpose of a call to action? To act. All right, to act, to move on the things that we call you to act upon. So really pay attention to those things. And I'm not criticizing you all together here, because as a result of putting out a lot of call to action, we are seeing evidence that you all are doing it. Right? We pushed back when the federal government tried to do that federal freeze. We pushed back in a major way. And those monies was released. So we can do much more of that. And I say this often. I am amazed at how the United States of America have a network of independent living centers controlled and staffed by people with diverse disabilities, and we're not doing more work. And we're not known as much as we should be. Let's not continue to make that happen. Right? You heard from a lot of young folks, a lot of leaders that continue to challenge us. Right? I know you heard the call. I do. I know you heard the call. So please continue to be a part of what I believe is going to be an outstanding year, an outstanding 2 more years, an outstanding 3rd year, because that's how hard we got to fight to get rid of this new administration. All right? I wrote an article about this. The pendulum swings. The pendulum will swing again. And when it does, we got to remember those corporations, those companies that said DEIA was a bad thing, and they got out of it. But more importantly, we got to remember those corporations and businesses who said DEI is a good thing, and we're not going to change. Right? And we remember those, the Centene's, the Costco's, and those companies that said, I don't care what the president or the administration say. DEI is good for this country. And so, lastly, just remember, we will make it through it, and when we do, we will put things back in place. So stick with us until we can make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Executive Director. Are you taking the vice president? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
This is Jason again. I'm going to just give a really brief update on behalf of the Vice President, Jeff Hughes, who was unable to make it this week. Want to thank him for his service and his work as well. Just a couple of updates. One is that with the bylaw changes a couple years ago, we now have co-chairs for the Advocacy and Public Policy Committee, which oversees the subcommittees. And we'll go through those list of committees and subcommittees in a minute. But the co-chairs is the vice president and the chair of the newer Center for Independent Living, or CIL, Capacity Building Committee, which is really focused on legislative, policy, and even programmatic activities to strengthen our network of centers across the country to do the work that we all do. And so I've been serving in that role as the initial chair, but with my change to president, there'll be a vacancy, so I'll be appointing a replacement, which has not been yet named. So that will be working along with Jeff, and I want to support both of them in their work that they do. Some of the things I really want to support both of those individuals on is how we continue to prioritize more support for our subcommittee chairs and our committee chairs. There's so much work to be done, and it can be hard to keep up at times, right? And I'll be naming some of our committee chairs and co-chairs in a minute, but they know how much work this is, and I just know we need to continue to support them more than we have. We also need to really bring in more members. If you are passionate about any of the topics that we'll name in our advocacy subcommittees, I really encourage you to jump into the member portal and make a request to join one of those subcommittees. There's just such tremendous opportunity. You don't have to be a topic expert on all federal issues in that topic to join it. Simply having a passion and a dedication to doing some work with that subcommittee is a great place to start. And getting more folks, again, of a variety of identities and a variety of ages to be involved in these subcommittees to do the work together. We really need that to bring more leaders up. So it just feels like a natural progression of new chairs and new leaders in our movement. And those subcommittees are just an amazing place to start. So we'll be focusing on that as well. And I'll again go through that list of committees and subcommittees momentarily. That's my update.
Thank you. The Secretary reported that we are working on a handbook that will be presented to the board this Thursday. And then from then once that approved, the membership will get the new nickel handbook. And what we're asking is that we use this new nickel handbook as our foundation. And as members, if you see any tweaks that need to be made, let us know, let me know, let Jenny know, and we will update that handbook on a yearly basis. And that's all I had at the time. So we are gonna ask the outgoing treasurer to make his final treasurer report.
See, he took away the fun. I was going to say for the last time.
I did.
Yeah.
I took
He does that to me on purpose. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. And I want to start and just give a really big thank you to Rhea on the Nickel staff. She's back. For those of you who didn't know, she's been back for a couple months now. I am very excited for the incoming treasurer, Whitney Doyle, that she has a really good foundation from the staff and then the new outside accounting firm that Nickel has solicited and has been working with. That Whitney has a very strong committee and support, and I wish her well, even though they're not going to let me leave the committee, and I'm still going to be around. That's what they say. As Theo mentioned, roughly a $1.7 million budget for Nickel for the annual operating year. To this point so far, we have financial reporting through the end of May that has been approved. Total revenues coming in of $727,000. Total expenses of $645,000. And that breaks down internally into three main operating areas. The first being the advocacy work. This included $60,000 in total expenditures so far through that point, around $4,000 in direct lobbying expenses, which there have been some increases in how that is being tracked and monitored, which the Nickel staff has been working hard to make sure that they are accurately tracking so that they can report that, and that way they can help be an example for everyone here of how to properly do that. The operations is the next section of our budget. We currently have had revenues of around $316,000 with expenses of $278,000. And the final area of our operations is the program budget. This has included $344,000 in revenues and $306,000 in expenses. So overall, the organization is doing well. As we all know here, finances and funding coming in is a tricky thing right now. We're hoping things can continue forward. And I know that the staff will be monitoring it very closely as things continue. This conference, I don't have any estimates of where we're at so far on it, but hopefully things have continued the way they were going, that the conference will, break even for us. So that helps us even more as we continue operating for the rest of the year. And with that, I'll finish up.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jason, you want to do the nickel committees and subcommittees?
We'd be happy to. So I'm going to just quickly list each of the committees and subcommittees, and I'm going to list the chairs who've been working really hard the last year on there. If you're in the room, whether you or folks around you could make some noise or draw attention to yourselves, I want to send a bit of appreciation to all these folks who've been working hard.
Yeah.
So I'll give a general applause. Why not? It's a lot of work. First up, Executive Committee was chaired by Kent Crenshaw, our former president. Really appreciate his commitment. The Finance Committee, chaired by our outgoing treasurer, Jeremy Morris. Advocacy and Public Policy, as I mentioned, chaired by Jeff Hughes and myself. The DEAI Committee, chaired by Vicki Landers.
Yeah.
Center Capacity Building Committee, chaired by myself. My cheering section out there. Up next is the Operational Excellence Committee, chaired by John Herring. The Regional Representatives Committee, chaired by Kimberly Meck. Programs and Projects Committee, chaired by Brittany Boyd Chisholm.
Yeah.
And Membership and Recruitment and Retention Committee, chaired by Aaron Beyer.
Yes.
And then we have our advocacy subcommittees. Chaired, the first one is the ADA Civil Rights Subcommittee, chaired by Steve Higgins. Disability and Disaster Subcommittee, chaired by Sherry Myers and Beth Meyer. Healthcare, Long-Term Services and Support Subcommittee, chaired by Lisa Hayes. And there's a Chronic Pain and Opioids Work Group, part of that subcommittee, chaired by Christy McGarity. The International Subcommittee is chaired by Leanne Nalian and Larissa Martin.
Yes.
The Housing Subcommittee has been chaired by Gloria Garton. Transportation Subcommittee has been chaired by Peter Yonke. Yonke, thank you. And Annual Conference Subcommittee, I believe, has been chaired by Lindsay Miller. Is that correct? Yes. Good guess. So that is the committees and subcommittees. And again, just putting a plug out there. If you're not a part of those, really encourage it. That's our strength, is bigger,
Yes,
more
please.
engagement, and put the work in as well too.
The best committee is the OAE committee, so please let me know you want to be involved.
He's lying. It's the Finance Committee.
Okay, moving on. For our resolutions and bylaws, just want to let you know there was one resolution submitted. However, it did not meet the requirements and did not proceed to the membership comment period. We will be discussing the resolution at our next board meeting, which is Thursday, and you will be hearing from us after that. As far as the bylaws, there are no bylaw changes at this time. And I'm going to ask Jason to take us with the rest of the, yes.
So the question from the audience was related to a bylaw change request for renaming the Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Inclusion Committee. That is yet to go through the process, so it's been recommended, but it hasn't been formally changed yet. So that would, well, I would anticipate that will be an upcoming process, which involves membership input as well. Thanks for the reminder, Vicki. Appreciate it. All right, so we're going to move along then. Any old business from folks on the stage or folks in the audience? And if you have anything you'd like to add or mention, we have a mic runner toward the middle of the room. So just looks like we got somebody over here. Oh. Any comments for old business?
Wanted the mic. I said you need a mic.
Oh,
We're all fighting over being the mic runner.
hey, I appreciate that. All right, one more call for any old business. Okay, any new business folks wish to discuss today? Is that a hand over there or someone? Hard to tell with the bright lights. All right, I'll make one more call. Any new business folks would wish to comment or discuss today? Okay. And with that, I'm going to move into announcements. I just have a couple of announcements for as we get near the end of our annual meeting. So the first one is that there are programs available for attendees near the registration. So please grab one if you have not already. And then the second announcement is that we are strongly encouraging mask wearing at tonight's celebration. Masks will be available on the table when you come downstairs if you need one. And if you are in need of legislative priority booklets, Kimberly Meck will be out in the lobby area, so you can see her and get the booklets and share information about your visits if you haven't shared those already with your regional reps as requested. So with that, that's the announcements, and I believe concludes our annual meeting, so we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All that fighting and we didn't even get to run the mic.